Hello, everybody. It is Victory Oganaya from the CUNYAC Chronicles, and today I am here with Coach Carlo. Coach Carlo, how are you doing?
Doing good. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far.
hmm Could you please list for me your name, the school you coach at, what sport you coach in, and how many years you've been coaching?
My name is Coach Carlo Edra. I am coaching for New Jersey City University. I am the men's volleyball coach there. And oh man, the whole how long I've been coaching. I guess as early as 2002, I was doing volunteer coaching at my former high school. So I've been doing this for a while.
Oh, you've been around for a while then. Great to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
So to go back to the very start of your time at NJCU, you're an alum of NJCU, and you
hmm
eventually have become the head coach of their men's volleyball program. Can you just elaborate more about that timeline and how you went from student to eventually head coach of your alma mater?
Before I tackle that question, could I just say I've watched your past couple podcasts with men's volleyball people on here, and your podcast with Logan Ramos from John Jay sparked a long conversation him and I had after our semifinal match. I did not know his story, and hearing it off this podcast made it to the point where I know like it was a touchy time. We had just, won that match. I needed to have a conversation with him just to let him know how incredible his story was. And the other two podcasts with Cyrus from Hunter and Chris, who's now at Manhattan, just got to say the Filipino exposure you're giving us on this podcast is it's helping our culture out, and I love it that Filipinos are starting to get their name out there in the volleyball world. Sorry, I went off topic.
No, you're welcome.
If you know anything about me, I can go on the craziest rants and lose my train of thought. If we're talking volleyball, I can go on forever. All right, so back to topic. Um, I actually I've been a Jersey City kid since oof, I want to say since I was like 4 years old. I lived on Roosevelt and then moved to Grand Street and then to Stegman. Oddly enough, I didn't even know NJCU existed when I was living there, and it was 2 blocks from my apartment. My family had moved us out to Edison, a suburb of New Jersey, and played high school volleyball at JP Stevens. I got recruited at an open gym because I didn't think I was good enough to play college volleyball. One of my best friends got recruited, and he kind of told the coach, "Hey, there's a guy here that would be perfect for an outside position." Coach went to see me play at an open gym, recruited me. That was 2004. I was playing for, not playing, but I was attending a different college at the time. Accepted it, and yeah, didn't realize how accepting that roster spot would completely change my life. And it was actually really funny because when I went to campus for the tour, I was 2 blocks from where I was living, and I was like, I had no idea there was a college here. Um, Played 3 years at NJCU. I was the starting libero, and then my coach lost his assistant coach after I had finished my eligibility. Asked me if I wanted to hop on staff. I wasn't doing anything. I still hadn't finished my degree yet, so I assisted under my head coach. His name is Christopher Feliciano. He's actually coaching at University of New Hampshire right now. Um, yeah, then after that, he departed after 1 year. I had to take over the program. I believe I was 23 years old, so I literally have players on my team that are at the age when I took over at NJCU. Um, I know this is such a complicated story. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. I coached there for 4 years. Um, my wife wanted to start a family and buy a house. We were married for a couple of years at that point, and at that time, volleyball was at a very different place, so it was all part-time work. I resigned and found my way back to volleyball years later, and NJCU opened up. I applied, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between there, but yeah, 2020 is when I came back, and I guess the rest is history from there.
Indeed, the rest is history, considering you guys have won your first CUNYAC conference championship this year. as new members. Which leads me to my next question, actually, since, of course, for those of you at home who may be watching, the season has been a pretty tumultuous one for you guys, considering the news about the Keen merger and, all of the uncertainty surrounding that. How did you manage your team through it this year and lead them through that?
I mean, I've been pretty transparent with everyone. It was not an easy season. Um, the news of the merger has been around since last year. Even last year, it was already in everybody's head. So, it had never left the talks because obviously the news started to intensify as the year went on, and yeah, it was a lot of managing everyone's emotions. There was a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, just every negative emotion that you could possibly think of. Uh, Me as the leader of the program, I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I feel like there's no point in stressing over stuff that we can't control. And I tried my best to be the example I wanted everyone to basically take after, but that's a lot easier said than done. It was a lot of keeping everyone as focused as possible, eye on the prize. Let's just take everything day by day because if we look and one of our mantras this season was there is no tomorrow. Um, if we just keep looking ahead, because a lot of teams do, like, hey, we'll get them next year, or the end of our season, it's like, oh yeah, we'll have to reload and retool and then figure out where we're going to be at next year. We didn't have that, so we had to pretty much live in the moment. But I mean, if you look at our schedule, I always say this, you'll see teams that you're just like, wow, I can't believe NJCU beat that team. And there are some teams that are like, why did they struggle with them? Or, oh, wow, they dropped that one. It, you never know. Like it's like any other emotion or trying to cope with something. One day you're fine, and the next day you're not feeling the best. And when your emotional state and mental state aren't there, the physical comes down with it. Uh, Luckily, we got everyone to focus and we peaked at the right time. Like I cannot stress that enough. Our best volleyball was played in the month of April, and it's a shout out to our coaching staff because we really, it was tough. I can't explain how hard it was this season just to manage all that was going on around us because it was all over the campus. Um, we were talking to Kane representatives the whole time. And you see them walking around our hallways. Yeah, it was rough.
I understand. I mean, like, obviously, it must have been a crazy time for you guys, and thankfully, I mean, you rallied at the end. Of course, like you said, you played some of your best volleyball in the month of April with you being conference champions and going on to the NCAA tournament as well too, which leads me to my next question. This season, you guys came into a new conference, the CUNYAC, with the knowledge, of course, that, this team would be your last, I mean, sorry, this season would be your last season ever. And despite it all, you went unbeaten in conference and became conference champions for the very first time. What factors, in your opinion, made you so successful this season?
All right, so I mentioned this at another podcast that I was on. Our first CUNY match was pretty early in the season. It was against John Jay at John Jay, and we saw a lot of the CUNY teams at that match. Everyone is decked out wearing their school stuff, and we were 100% not being rooted for in that game, and we heard it, and a bunch of our guys were a little frazzled because I don't know if you were at the match or if you were watching it. We won the first two sets, and then the third set, something happened. That crowd became a factor. John Jay started playing really well, and during one of the timeouts, I kind of brought everyone in and I told everyone to embrace the role we are. Everybody there, everybody that plays in the CUNY are city teams, and we are the odd ones out from New Jersey. And I told him, I was like, we're the bad guys now, and we have to embrace that role. And I'm a big Marvel guy, so I told them, I was like, we are Thanos, and luckily for us in Infinity War, Thanos won, and that's what we have to do. We got to embrace being the bad guys, and that's really not the best way to go about it, but that's what worked for us. We just knew everyone was against us, and we had to play for each other and had to figure out how to feed off of, the heckling we were getting from the crowd. And we embraced it every time we came to New York to play. And Yeah, it worked out really well for us.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I would say that for the most part, John Jay especially, I think, has one of the best atmospheres in the CUNYAC with their crowd and how much they can get into it. And their volleyball team has so many great players, like you said, with Logan Ramos, Nick Fuentes, even more great players on that team. So I think you guys definitely got a good taste for what the CUNYAC was like by facing off against them so early.
You know,
Um,
not only that, but during our semifinal match, uh, they traveled really well too. We had a huge. It was the last home match we were playing, ever being played at NJCU, and a whole group of people all rolled up at the same time, and they were John Jay fans, and I was like, "Whoa, they even
yeah.
came to Jersey."
I watched that match too. It was a very good match, but their crowd, I mean, their team, I mean, fans, I should say, sorry, are
Hmm.
very, very lovely. Um, Next question. You mentioned in your postseason interview after winning your conference championship how personal this championship was for you. Because years ago, you mentioned that you were told the news of your father's death, unfortunately, at the Sportsplex in Hunter College. And this year, you won the CUNYAC championship wearing that same outfit you wore when you found out that news. Can you just dive a little bit deeper into what this championship means for you personally and for NJCU as a whole?
Yeah, it was. So just to clear up the story, my my brother and I were part of the team at the time. I was the head coach. He was the starting libero at the time. Our father had passed away maybe about a week before that match. This is back in March 2009. It was at my dad's funeral. We gave his eulogy. We were at the family luncheon, and we are from a volleyball rich family. Everyone in my family plays volleyball, and it's not one of those like, oh yeah, we play at family barbecues. No, 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 no. We're all legit volleyball players, and we were just sitting there and we kind of talked to each other like, what do you think dad would want us to do right now? Hunter was at the time one of like the best teams in the country. And we decided, we're like, yeah, dad wants us to go. Went to mom, let her know. Uh, yeah, those first two sets were not good for us at all. Hunter really, kicked our butts. And then something flipped in the third set. We won the next three. And yeah, I just remember I was standing there in the suit I gave my dad's eulogy in, and I lost it. I'm not known to cry very much. My wife actually like absolutely hates that about me, but I it came out there because I just felt like my dad helped us win that match. And to this day, I will always look at that as the most emotional win I've ever had in my career. And then fast forward to gosh, like so long after that, now we're playing a conference championship match in our final season of existence. We lose that match. That's a real bad taste in our mouths. But to go from the absolute, like the lowest of the lows at my dad's funeral and then winning that match, it's such a juxtaposition of emotions. And then the same concept there, like we're playing Baruch in the conference championship and we lose that match. Who knows how we all feel, but to have the match go the way that it did and that elation of winning, especially at a place that just has so like I have so much history at was yeah, I can't it's hard to talk about. It's just such an emotional, I guess, yeah, such an emotional match that could have happened there. And yeah, it's happened multiple times at that gym.
Yeah, the sports books I think holds. Thankfully, it holds a lot of positive memories for you now, especially with NJCU having gone to win it all, and now switching over to hopefully even more positive memories for you. Can you just name a favorite memory of your time as head coach of NJCU, and then also something that you'll miss the most about being head coach of NJCU?
Oh, it is. See, everybody thinks about like, what win is there? It's something volleyball related, but I am big on having an open door policy in my office. Uh, I tell all my guys the only way that we're going to have a good relationship or, want to fight for each other is if we get to know each other. So you don't need an appointment. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If you come into my office, we can have a conversation. It doesn't matter if it's volleyball related, any of the random shows that I watch. any other sport, you have problems with your girlfriend, your love life, it does not matter. There's nothing out of bounds for me because I have a saying on my wall, and it's be the person you wish you had when you were younger. And that is something I wish I had when I was younger, just like a mentor figure, um, kind of like an older brother, because I'm the eldest in my family out of my brother, my cousins, and there's the next closest person to me is my brother, and he's 6 years younger than I am. So I never really had someone like that to look up to, and that's what I want to be for my guys. And it's just the office conversations that we would have because my coworkers probably hate me because it starts out with one guy, and before you know it, there are 10 guys in my office, and we're all just sitting there just talking about the most random stuff. But that stuff translates because I tell my guys all the time when you have teammates, yeah, you'll play hard for them, but when you consider these people family and you consider them brothers, you're gonna go through way more for each other. And yeah, it's definitely those office conversations that I'm gonna miss the most.
I mean, also I've seen on your social media that you guys, after a lot of wins, you'll go out and eat together as a team. And especially I think after you won the conference championship, you went to either Applebee's or TGI Fridays, which I thought was really sweet. Um,
Yeah,
oh,
that's a shout out to NJCU. Right? Never go home hungry. The guys got to eat after every meal.
true that. Next, what did you learn about yourself, coaching, or your team in this season?
Uh, it's I don't want to say I learned it about myself, but uh, my support system at home is just. I mean, I already knew like my kids and my wife were the best I possibly could have, but my wife literally just always checked up on me. She knew like NJCU is not just a place I work. Like NJCU is part of my identity. Um, 2004 is when I started at NJCU as a player and a coach, and my heart's just been there every season. I don't want this to sound arrogant, but like there are a lot of coaching opportunities for me to go, and I never wanted to leave. One, because everyone treats me amazing at NJCU. I've never heard the word no whenever I've asked for support. And it, I just, I was at home there. NJCU, Jersey City is my home. Um, so my wife, every step of the way, I did not cook one meal during season. I did not wash one article of clothing or have to fold one. Like she did everything because she knew I was going to put everything into the season, and she made it so I did not have to do anything except focus on the guys, focus on the next match. And then my kids are just my biggest supporters and also my biggest critiquers because when we lose or somebody doesn't play well or I mess up a timeout call, one of them's gonna tell me, "Hey, Dad, you really let that last rally go for a long time." But uh, yeah, it was. I not that I needed to learn it, but it's at the darkest moments where you figure out who, the real ones are because it's easy for everyone to come around when you win, but it's when you're taking your losses, when you see who's around you still, and those are the people that really matter.
Really profound. I mean, truly, what are we without our support systems? No man's an island. We all got the we all got to have a team by our sides to make sure that we're doing the best we can.
Hmm.
And that comes towards the end of this interview, actually. So, one final word. Do you have any final words for the audience, your team, maybe perhaps any former students, student athletes of yours?
It's pretty simple. It's be proud of what we did at NJCU. We put so much hard work into everything we really did. I demand everything out of everyone because that's exactly what I'm going to give, and it's got to be reciprocated between coach and players. Win or lose in our seasons, I was always proud of the guys that stepped foot in our gym. Um, and then the future, I don't plan on I don't plan on going any other career path, so hopefully something works out for me where I get to stay local. And yeah, I know these guys don't want this to end now, especially the guys that are coming back. next year. Who knows where everyone's going to end up, but I kind of told my guys, I promise I'm going to do everything I can to find a spot because we don't want this to end now. Uh, Even whether or not we have NJCU on our chest or another school, um, like I said, we forged a brotherhood here. We are a very close-knit, tight family, and wherever you see me end up, you're going to see some of those players with me.
Well, that's great to hear. Wishing you and the rest of the NJC team best of luck wherever you guys end up, whether that's Keene or potentially at other CUNYAC schools or anywhere else in the country too. Thank you everyone at home for watching. This has been Victoria Kanaya with the CUNYAC Chronicles, and we will see you later.